Welcome to IntroAstro. In this video, I'll quickly give you an overview what to expect. Well, what you expect is mostly a module, which I don't see it should be the one that you fail. But nevertheless, I expect you to do some work. And I expect you to learn something, and even if it's just to get general concepts. But hopefully after this module, you will look into the sky with different eyes. Okay. What, of course, you are most interested in is the delivery. Most of the delivery happens then now online, or I have to do it all online because of the pandemic. Well, therefore we have the platform Aula. Is one thing that you probably know. So Aula, oops, let me quickly share screen. Here we go. Okay, should be the screen, but now hopefully you see Aula. Top right corner B. And if you go on Aula, community is your section, and for me to make announcement, but mostly for you to discuss with each other, to post interesting features, ask questions, etc. So please use it. Then there's Journey. This is where the most of the material, obviously I found it, because then you would otherwise you wouldn't see the video. Here, now at the moment, the welcome section is relatively interesting. So if you click on the welcome sections, there's of course the video that you found. But there's also a file which contains most of the important information, which I have to quickly update. So let's quickly download it. Save. Open. Okay. So it gives us most of the important information. Large, hopefully it's no better to see. So the module descriptor, forget about it. It's bioregrading waffling. Delivery, I have decided here for, well, I would have liked to do hybrid before Omicron. So what I will do, I will post the lectures in Aula in these material sections. Then in the week, you find one bullet point with lecture videos. There you find them. And above, you find the lecture, the PowerPoint slides, which act also a bit as lecture notes. About literature, I will talk to you in the first lecture. So, which books I would, if you want to buy something or if you want to get some. I have also some open online resources given. Okay, so we have to do it online. That means I will record the lectures. You would expect you to watch them prior to our weekly question, answer, and tutorial sessions. You probably have seen the feed in the community post that we are at vote the day before the lecture, so the first meeting. The vote stops, and I will see whether you decide for 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock for the tutorials. So then we're gonna have the question answers tutorial sessions, and they are followed by a weekly. It has to be on MS Teams, unfortunately. I would have really liked to have a hybrid. So they are followed by the weekly class test, which is an online quiz. And for this, I would like you to open after this video a website which is called myuws.ac.uk. This is our old Moodle page, has historical reason and the practicality reason that Aula quizzes are crap. We pay the hundreds of thousands of pounds per year for less functionality than this Moodle site that has more. If you log there in, the only section you you would see hopefully a link towards the IntroAstro module. If not, let me know. The good thing is the first 2 weeks, the class tests are going to be just for you to get used. They do not count. It's starting week 3 up to week 12, so 10 tests. Of course, what can happen is that you miss one. I will, at the very end of the module, offer you a session where you can repeat the ones where you gave me a good excuse why you missed one. Otherwise, extenuating circumstances, and you can do them or this type of class tests in the summer. But of course, it's a bit annoying because in the summer I want to do research, and of course you want to do something else. So please, please, please do it all. And you will see these class tests. These are multiple choice of 8 questions each week. Multiple choice, probably one can anyway eliminate some of the solutions. Some of the solutions hopefully make you smile. It's important to have occasionally a smile or good laughter. So don't worry, it's hard in this module to fail. This gives us 50% of the assessment. The other part of the assessments will be 2 essays. Each essay counts 25% of the total mark. And this weekly class test and these 2 essays, they form 2 individual pillars of coursework. That means in each of them, you need to get 30%, and then you can level up with 50% of the other pillar. Or best, you try to score as high as possible, then your average grade points are best. And this module, I think, is relatively nice. So we will have these class tests, count 50%, the other 50% by these 2 essays. 50% divided by 2 means 25% per essay. No, I don't want to read 20 times War and Peace. Well, in my lifetime, I'm sure I'm going to read this book when I'm retired again, but once was enough. So 700 words plus minus, or I think 100, 200 words, no more. References do not count for the word count. And I want to have these essays written to a certain standard. This is basically one of the learning outcomes to get you used to academic writing. What means now you, I, whatever, no first, second, third person, one tries to write objective. If you make a statement, the statement, either it's your own, or if you took it from somewhere, it needs to be referenced. So referencing is also very important. Well, so the first essay will be about an observatory, which can be Earth-based or space-based. So Hubble Space Telescope, or the Very Large Telescope, or the Extreme Large Telescope, or the Keck Observatory, or now relatively up to date, the James Webb Space Telescope, the Planck satellite, whatever you choose. There are a couple, you're gonna learn a lot. Very interesting, recent couple of years, Gaia, the Gaia satellite. You're gonna hear about most of the stuff. So you're completely free to choose. And the idea behind is that you get used to academic writing, and second, most important skill, to independently gather information. Because later on in the job, the boss says do, and how, he doesn't know, as long as you deliver. And he usually doesn't want to be bothered, where do I find? So it's a very, very important skill, where to find information. Beyond the Google search, beyond Wikipedia. So this is one thing, and the second thing is to clearly disseminate, terrible word, information in a compressed form. But that's basically the purpose behind it. The first one is this observatory, and the second essay, I think that should be around February 18th. So you have about a month to write an essay. Then I think it's March 18th. I deliberately took it before the end, weeks before the end of the module, because usually in the other modules you get the coursework at the very end. But then you're slammed down, all this at once. And I know how it is. I was also a young person. On delays and delays, and then suddenly, poof, I want to protect you from yourself a bit. Okay. But the second essay, it should be the middle of March. I think there should be. Okay, the first is due 18th of February. This was about the observatory. Here you find possible missions from the NASA, the European Space Agency, but we shouldn't forget that now India is active, China is very active, sure, other countries as well. Russia, of course. Here you also find then the marking schedule that I use. So where I more or less go along this. So for what do I give points? For what do I take away? Some is formal, some is content. And after years and years reading this kind of essays, I now know I've got a feeling for which student worked himself in and which student is just, by the way, no copy and pasting. If you copy and paste, it clearly has to be marked. This is copy and pasted. This is a citation. This citation and behind the reference, where you took it from. And this is maybe okay for half a sentence or a sentence, a statement, but not for entire paragraphs. I don't even look at paragraphs, which Turnitin is very effective in finding them. The ones that are marked, I do not even look at. It's, if I see a hidden plagiarism, and you basically just add few words, it's also found. Write in your own words. Just copy and pasting, you don't learn anything. That is pointless. Then it's a waste of your time, and for me, much worse, my time creating. So write in your own words. Process the information in your mind and write it down. Better make mistakes. I don't mind if there are spelling mistakes, as long as it's not one big spelling mistake. In fact, it shows me these are your words. If the grammar is not 100%, who cares? It's the content that counts. So you find here the information. Then the second essay, which is due in middle of March, it's about an astronomical object or an astronomical constant. And you will find a couple of, you will get enough examples that you could choose. Whatever you want. Well, I would be grateful if not 2/3 of the essays are again about black holes. Might be interesting, but every year, black hole, black hole, black hole. Okay. So again, here you find the marking schedule. Here you find examples for referencing how they would do them in the text. UWS officially wants, yeah, you should hear what I don't have. If you have such a thing, Moodle site, intro, blah, blah. And then you should give here when you have access to a website, because they often change. Okay. UWS officially wants this Harvard referencing. I don't know whether my colleague Mark Caprio from Yale would be so happy about this. Okay. I don't mind the format as long as it's consistent and sufficient to find the resource without big hassle. Referencing has two important things. First of all, if you write crap, you took it from some other source. You can pass the blame on to the other source. Oh, but this guy has it. Can be a big advantage. The second is if you are a reader and you think, oh, this particular point is very interesting. I would like to read more. Where did he get it from? You don't want to search through an entire library. You want to have a direct link. And you give credit to people that had original ideas. In fact, that is in science one of the main criteria, how good you are, how often are you cited, and how many of your papers are cited, how often. This is so-called H index. Okay. And here you get at least for academic writing a bit of commonly made mistakes, which have been rather positively formulated. So the structure, of course, that we have a certain structure, and headlines are very important, because if you're a reader and you're not interested in technology, you're rather into physics, you would skip over, directly go to the next. So usually also we have an abstract, because if I start writing reading a paper, time is my most precious commodity. So what I do, I read over the abstract. This must be an appetizer. What is inside? Not why, what is inside? This helps me to judge whether it's worth to invest my time or not. And then I start reading, and sometimes I start skipping over, and sometimes I just make a paper ball and throw it over my shoulder. So such things. Then the style, that no use of first or second person. Neutral language such as objectivity. Of course, that is a dream, but we can at least pretend. Referencing, very important. And please keep in mind, Turnitin is very effective in finding plagiarism. If you overdo it, we have a banner, a flag for the students to set. If you overdo it over a certain limit, which I don't tell you, and no worries, there are some words like if you write about black holes, it will every time say black hole is plagiarism, and we give internet sources. What is nonsense? You need to have this word in. But of course, entire sentences, entire paragraphs, entire works. I will flag you, and if it happens in the second essay again, plagiarism. And UWS is crazy about this, absolutely crazy. There's a lot of people, let's say, with a weak academic background, which by themselves never wrote something, so they try to uphold the standards for others. These are usually the worst judges. So don't do it. So hopefully this gave you now a feeling about the assessment that is coming now. Well, here's already a literature list, but I will talk about this in the first lecture. It was already enough. I'll switch it back to this welcome stuff. So this was okay, and then I would every week expect you to watch the video lessons before our question and answer session. This would be, you go on the respective week, then you have this introduction, you can skip over. Video lessons, the important stuff. So with the, also with the PowerPoints, right? Then there's also apply. No. If you click on apply, it takes a while. There will be a link to tutorial questions. which are 10 questions, which would be good if you could answer them all by yourself. If not, so what is meant by universality of physics law? It would be good if you can answer them. If not, it's not the end of the world. We are going through them. Okay. Then our tutorial questions. I will basically, once this is finished, the tutorials, we will go to my uws.ac.uk. Okay, for me, it lets me know in because I just, if you log in there, what you usually don't do anymore, you will find the module sites that they are listed. And you should have a link to introductory astronomy. If you don't have, please let me know, then I can add you by hand. This is here much more versatile than Aula. Okay, then if assessment and feedback, the other sections you should be able to see. It's basically the different class tests. And looking into continue last preview is for me, then for you it looks a bit slightly different. Then you have one attempt to go through and answer these 8 questions. So you can always go also back to the previous question and change. You can have at the end another look over. So question astronomy has practical application in agriculture, navigation, arts and mythology, football and navigation, hunting and navigation. So you pick what you want. Let's say football and navigation sounds good. Go to the next page. And then your question 4, the idea is, so this is about don't be scared. Okay, so that was about it, what I want to say you. And then I would say, have a look at the first lessons. Let's see now the unshare stuff. Okay, stop share here with you. So have a look into the first lessons. I will always try to have them a week before the lecture already online. Sometimes it won't happen that it's only 3-4 days before. Sorry about this, but I try to. Well, otherwise, let's make this module a success, have occasionally a good laugh together, and enrich your common knowledge. Yeah, one thing I should say. Some of you have a good mathematical background. I'm sorry, it's often a bit shallow in terms of mathematics. It's not astrophysics. And this module used to be, there used to be loads of students from different backgrounds. Unfortunately, now administration has again forgotten to point this out to more students as an option. This is typical UWS administration, and then they come along. Why do you have suddenly so few students? Because you made a mistake. Okay, so it used to have a wide variety of students in the module, so it's more descriptive, it's more getting concepts. Okay, the mass I try to keep as really down to a minimum. But nevertheless, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you're fascinated by the knowledge you're gonna obtain. And once you're finished, and some of you go to University Challenge, that you answer all questions about astronomy perfectly. Okay, enough waffling. Okay, see you then. Bye.